Somali government says it will rebuild the Mogadishu Stadium after AMISOM force pulled out from the area. The Somali Prime Minister chaired a crucial meeting on the currency reform that attended by Somali partners from international community. The Minister of Interior of Somali Federal Government hosted a consultative meeting on the implementing the important tasks for the ministry. These are the headlines of Sntv English news for tonight. Somali government says it will rebuild Stadium Mogadishu after AMISOM forces pulled out from the area. AMISOM peacekeeping forces in Somalia were operating in Mogadishu Stadium 10 years during the fighting against terrorists across the city. The President of Somali Federal Government, His Excellency Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, announced that the government of Somalia is planning to reconstruct Mogadishu Stadium to resume the sports activity for the country. The Mogadishu Stadium was under control of AMISOM, using as the large military base for 10 years during the fighting against terrorists across the city. It is one of the most potential infrastructure for the country. President Farmajo says it is the time to rebuild infrastructures to restore the role we had in the African continent. After visiting the stadium, whereby he met AMISOM force commanders for the aim of removing the forces from there. AMISOM commanders briefed the President of Somalia, Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, on the situation for the stadium, since they were controlling longer time, and they said that they are fully pulled out and handed over to the government of Somalia. In his speech, the President of Somali Federal Government, His Excellency Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, thanked the EU peacekeeping forces in the country for their sacrifice to save Somali people from international terrorist group of Al-Shabaab. On the other hand, high-level government officials visited the stadium today, including the Minister of Defense, members of Somali parliamentarians, the top national army officers, and also members of Banad Regional Administration. Their visit was aimed to confirm the pull-out of AMISOM troops from there. They told the journalists that the Somali government is fully controlling the area from now and will be built soon. The Prime Minister of Somalia, Hassan Ali Khaire, has chaired a crucial meeting on the currency reform for the country. The meeting was attended by partners from international community.
The Prime Minister of the Federal Republic of Somalia, His Excellency Hassan Ali Khaire, today chaired a crucial meeting on currency reform and the printing of the Somali new currency, which attended a key partners from international community. During the meeting, the Prime Minister emphasized that the Somali government is committed to printing new currency for the country to enhance the economic growth. Somali government officials have displayed to the international community representative to a complete plan of economic generation to tackle long-standing financial instability of Somalia. The Prime Minister said that the Somali government is needed to get more than $42 million to print a new currency of Somali shillings, and he applied that the international partners to raise that money. The representatives of the international community welcomed the progress has made Somali government and expressed their support in the good steps that the Somali has secured. They also applaud anti-corruption crackdown that the federal government recently moved on and believe this fighting corruption practice is very important milestone for the country. The country's finance minister, Dr. Abdulrahman Duale Bele, told the state media that the Somali is fully finished all conditions for the new currency print, and this gathering was essential for securing in a huge future investment. I attend the meeting on the currency reform chaired by the Prime Minister today with our valuable international partners. We are working hard towards this with Central Bank of Somalia and International Monetary Fund, alongside with other key partners of Somalia, said the Minister of Finance.
A high-level consultative meeting on the implementation of important tasks for the Minister of Interior, Federalism and Reconciliation of Federal Government of Somalia has been held today in Mogadishu, which organized by the ministry. 4 days training workshop concluded in Adado town of Galmudug State that was intended to educate the people on civic education to the people of Galmudug State.
A 4-day training workshop organized by the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs of the Federal Republic of Somalia accompanied with the Galmudug Reconstruction and Development Studies completed today in Adado town in Galmudug. The purpose of this training was the education people and civic education of the people towards the Constitution. The training was attended by the more than 70 people from the civil society, Galmudug, different areas, development studies, staff in civic education, and public awareness campaigns. The participants discussed the topics including most appropriate measures that the implementation of the civic education and public awareness in the areas under Galmudug administration and how they address the challenges faced. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs of Galmudug, Zakaria Muhammad Ahmed, urged the participants who benefit from this training to create community awareness on a constitutional issue in the villages in Galmudug to have acknowledged community for their constituencies. Meanwhile, the Communication Director, Minister of Constitutional Affairs of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Abdulkadir Ali addressed that the audience about the training and trainers carry forward assignments to other people who did not have the opportunity to attend. Similarly, Director of Planning Department of the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs of the Federal Republic of Somalia, Muhammad Bashir Omar, said the ministry's plan including reaching all Somali people to educate the constitutional rights.
The British Prime Minister Theresa May has announced plans to boost Britain's investment in Africa.
Arriving in South Africa on Tuesday morning, Mrs. May said she wanted the UK to overtake the US to become the G7's biggest investor in Africa by 2022. In a speech in Cape Town, she pledged £4 billion to support for African economies to create jobs for young people.
Because the challenges facing Africa are not Africa's alone. It is in the world's interest to see that those jobs are created, to tackle the causes and symptoms of extremism and instability, to deal with migration flows and to encourage clean growth. If we fail to do so, the economic and environmental impacts will swiftly reach every corner of our networked, connected world.
She also pledged a fundamental shift in aid spending to focus on long-term economic and security challenges rather than short-term poverty reduction. May will also visit Nigeria and Kenya during the 3-day trade mission.
This week I'm visiting 3 countries, South Africa, Nigeria and Kenya, that I regard as key partners in achieving this goal. With thriving democracies, strong international ties, including through the Commonwealth, and fast-changing economies, they are typical of 21st century Africa.
On her way to South Africa, the Prime Minister also laid down warnings from the Chancellor about the economic damage a no-deal Brexit could cause. Mrs. May's trips, which will see her meet the presidents of all 3 countries, aims to deepen economic and trade ties with growing African economies ahead to Britain's leaving EU in 2019. After a bilateral meeting with South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa, she is expected to visit Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. On Wednesday, Mrs. May intends to meet Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari in the capital Abuja before meeting victims of modern slavery in Lagos. On Thursday in Kenya, Mrs. May will meet President Uhuru Kenyatta before visiting British troops and a business school. A state dinner hosted by Mr. Kenyatta will conclude the trip.
You are up to date with the latest news from Somali National TV. My name is Ali Abdulkadir Ali. Join us tomorrow, inshallah. Until next, have a good time.